how much of Biden still staying in the race is really Jill. Let me quickly get to Bill, because I know he's been holding on for a little bit. Friend of the show. God, I had him on. I don't even know.
Many times.
I just love the dude. I really, really, really like this guy. Bill, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing down there? A little humid, is it?
Oh, it's like it's like Vietnam all the time. You know that. You lived in Miami.
I did. I went down there to teach high school, and the high school did not have air conditioning. This was in 1971.
What was Miami? Miami in 1971, Bill, had to be kind of cool.
Well, I was teaching in a ghetto in Opelika, which was really rough.
Oh, I know where the hell that's at. That's bad.
It was bad.
I mean, did you ever...
Miami then was kind of a backwater except for the Dolphins. The Dolphins were dominant. But I remember going in the classroom and trying to write on the blackboard. I could not write with the chalk on the blackboard. It was so humid. What did I get myself into?
And that was one of your very first. That was one of your very first jobs, wasn't it?
Yeah, first job out of college, and I taught high school for 2 years in Florida. And coming from New York, it was a culture shock because some of those kids down there had never left the state in South Florida. They just, because it's a ride to get to Georgia. So anyway, but it was one of the best experiences of my life, I have to say.
I got to tell you, though, I mean, that job probably paid like what? $9,400? Like
nothing. That's an interesting question because it paid so little that I had to work a second job. And my second job was a bouncer at the Rec Bar in Miami Beach, which was the biggest hot spot in South Florida, the Rec Bar. And I was a bouncer there on the weekends, and that almost for the 2 nights paid me as much as teaching school.
And, man, I got to tell you, man, back in the 70s, Miami and the chicks, I mean, it had to be pretty cool.
Look, they hired me because I'm 6'4" and 210 pounds, and I look respectable. So they wanted to, and mob guys ran the Rec Bar.
Of course.
It was a mafia place, and they were all New York guys, and so they knew I was from New York, and they knew I was presentable. I didn't care. They were paying me in cash, and so I just said, "Look, I don't want to have to beat anybody up."
I bet you had to yoke some people up, though, Bill.
No, I didn't, because they had other guys named Guido who would do that. All I had to do was signal from the bullpen.
So you just would
come over and take care of it.
You'd give the signal to the Guido to come get the bad guy out. You were just kind of like running. You were like the boss of the Guidos, kind of.
I had to actually wear a sport jacket that I didn't want to get messed up.
Right.
So, Guido took care of the...
you were kind of like the pit boss in Vegas, kind of like the pit boss that was running the dealers, kind of.
Well, I didn't look at it that way. All I wanted to do was get the hell out of there and be able to eat the next week.
Did you ever think, Bob? Bill? Did you ever think, man? I was a teacher in Miami, and then went on to be the biggest cable news guy. And I'm not trying to talk money or nothing, but probably at your height, Bill, you probably were a 30, 40, 50 million dollar a guy year. And I mean, think of from being a high school teacher needing a second job as a bouncer in Miami to the highest paid cable news guy. That's quite the trek. Throw in a semi-pro pitching and punter for Marist College, and you got yourself Bill O'Reilly, buddy.
Only in America.
That's right.
And that's why, my traditional outlook on the country and how noble it is exists, because I came out of Levittown, New York. My parents didn't have any money. And I rose up to the highest level. We are the best-selling nonfiction authors in the world.
With a new book coming out September 10th.
Confronting the President to be out September 10th, 2 months from today, and it's already sold 50,000 in advance orders.
Bill, in your new book, not to give anything away, but give us one little fact that maybe the average person didn't know about said president.
Well, every page you're going to have that, but we open the book with George Washington is mad at his mother. That's the first sentence in the book. And George Washington's mother did not like him and wrote letters the Virginia newspapers telling them that Georgie was starving her. That's how we opened the book.
So what is
absolutely true?
So what is
and it drove Washington nuts.
So the guy,
and he didn't even go to his mother's funeral.
He didn't?
No.
Do you think George Washington?
There was so much bad blood between Washington and his mother that he didn't show up for the funeral.
I mean, he's always held in the highest regards, but probably George Washington was had a little bit of a prick side to him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, Washington was justified. His mother was a loon. But the history that we all have been taught about the presidents is 80% propaganda.
How about
we cut through it all and tell you who these guys were, whether they helped or hurt the country, and in a way that I will tell you, Bubba, every single page you go, whoa! And that's why this book is going to, I think, be a smash.
Do you get into the infamous, what were the two interns that Kennedy had?
Fickle and Faddle.
Fickle and Faddle. Did you get into that?
That was in Killing Kennedy, so we went over that territory pretty methodically in that book. But
right.
The Kennedy chapter, the man did some very good things, but he wasn't what Americans thought he was. And he had the press protecting him big time. And that's pretty much what we tell you, how the Washington Post and other vehicles basically let Kennedy run wild.
Yeah, I've read several things that the press didn't. They really gave him a pass on some of the real shady stuff that he did.
They loved him.
Bill, how far could you go out and punt a ball right now, and how fast could you throw a ball? Former semi-pro pitcher, former punter. Could you punt a 40-yarder?
No.
No? Come on, Bill.
No, I couldn't get out there 40. At my prime, I won the division at UMass Marist College in the punting division. I could kick the ball, 60 yards.
Yeah.
On occasion, if I had a nice wind behind me. And then we didn't have radar guns back there, but I think I could get it up to about 85, 87. Heat. But I was a good athlete.
I bet you could still pump it in the 60s with a small little splitter.
In the 60s, I could probably. I threw out the first pitch at the Mets a few years ago, and I kind of drilled it in. I wasn't a Barack Obama.
Bill O'Reilly on the phone. And Bill, you've been in the news lately. I love that one dude that you said that you've been tanning too much, and you set him straight on News Now. I like that. I like that interview.
Which one was that?
The News Nation guy.
The News Nation guy, where you said, looks like you've been tanning too much there, buddy.
Missing the news.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do News Nation every Monday and Wednesday. That's working out very well for us. And then I posted yesterday on BillO'Reilly.com, which is where we live, the viewer numbers for my TV show. We do it 4 times a week, and then we have syndicated radio. You know that world.
Yeah.
And the viewer numbers now are approaching, for this independent news agency, what cable news does in prime time.
Really?
And it took me 7 years to build this. And you know what the key to it all was? YouTube.
Yep.
My post-debate analysis on YouTube had 4 million views.
People don't realize us old school, you're an old school.
Oh, they don't know.
No, us old school broadcasters.
And the average age of people watching the cables and the network news is like 98.
Right.
I mean, it's old people who can't work the computer or the cell phone. That's who's left because they're so boring.
And I mean, you are old school broadcaster where you I think you had a gig in Denver, you had a gig in Hartford, you were a weatherman in Dallas. You were the average television journeyman that had a television career. I think in Hartford, and then WCBS in New York, and then CBS National, and then boom, Inside Edition. Was Inside Inside Edition kind of your real big break, or was the ABC?
Yeah, that was the turning point of it all. I wasn't a weatherman. I got out of Boston University. I went there after my high school teaching days, got a master's in broadcast journalism. I started in Scranton, and I worked my way up to New York City, largest market,
right,
in 5 years. And then I went to the networks. I went to CBS and ABC, worked with Rather and Jennings, and then I went to Inside Edition because they paid me a phenomenal amount of money. And David Frost, who was the first anchor, you guys remember him?
Yep.
David Frost?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was drunk every night. So they had to fire him. And there I was, I don't drink. So they go,
yeah, but I mean,
this? I said, I don't know if I can turn the show around because it's a disaster, but we'll give it a shot. And we did.
And you probably took, knowing you probably took a back-ended deal where the base was decent, but you had some huge backside ratings incentives, and here you are just nailing those, cashing big checks. Because they're
I was there 6 years, and I made fairly significant money at Inside Edition, and then I left to go to Harvard and get another master's degree. My agent went, "What? You're walking away from millions?" I said, "Yeah, I'm tired of it. I don't want to do this. Let me go up and get another degree," and that's where I designed the O'Reilly Factor up in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
That's where you see you got a little FU money. Then you're like, I'm going to go get a big kicker from Harvard, and I'm going to be able to take that to Fox, and I'm really going to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't know at that time that Roger Ailes, who was running Fox, paid attention to what I did at Inside Edition, but he did. He saw how much money that syndicated television program made, and it was on the rocks. So that's the decision that Fox made, that this guy can make us money, can run an hour program, and the rest is history, as they say.
Was Roger Ailes depicted correctly in that doc?
No. That's all propaganda.
Ailes
is a genius as far as evaluation of talent. He knew who was good and who was not good on television. There are very few human beings alive who have that skill. What he did or did not do, I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, I had a business relationship with him. He was running Fox News. We got along fine because I was delivering major ratings for him. But other than that, I have no idea. But as far as a businessman was concerned, he organized that place. He put good talent on the air. And, it is still maintained. It's not what it used to be. Everybody knows that FNC is not what it used to be. But it's still much better than the alternative.
Well, here's the thing. It's decent, but everything else is so crappy that it's still pretty good.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's an excellent analysis. You just can't sit there and watch this propaganda. And there is propaganda on Fox, if you want to be honest about it.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
But they have better talent. Fox has better talent. And then, because I don't watch a lot of that because I'm really busy. But when I cruise through, I mean, 9 out of 10 of these people bore me to death.
But I mean,
as a guy who's been in the media, for 80 years, Bubba? You've been
40.
You started with Marconi, didn't you?
38 years, buddy.
You got to be entertaining. You got to be alive out there. Most of these people are dead.
Now, do any of the current Fox people, the Gutfields, the Jesse Waters, do they ever pay respects to a guy that helped lay down, the foundation of kind of what they're doing?
Sure. You don't hear anybody badmouth me.
No, I mean, do you ever see him out and about, and Jesse be like, comes up and pays respects to the guy? Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I think in Waters' book, he said, in his opinion, I'm the best broadcaster, he's ever seen. And I talk to him from time to time. He'll give me a call. I don't talk to Gutfield, but I was never real friendly with Gutfeld. I put him on the Factor. He's very talented, good writer. But I don't schmooze. I'm not a schmoozer guy, but I see them around. I'm in New York, and they're in New York. Sean Hannity, I'm on his radio program every week. Today, I'll be on that this afternoon.
Kilmeade. I've had Brian on. Brian Kilmeade. You good with Brian?
Yeah.
I've had
He's
him
around.
I've had him
on Long Island.
I've had them all on. I used to have Tucker on, back in the day, and I worked with Glenn Beck when Glenn Beck was a guy in Tampa. So, we know a lot of the same people. And Bill, I've just been so cool to be able to maintain a relationship with you and always have you on the air when you're promoting your stuff and when we need your opinion about certain things. And appreciate you always giving me the time of day and. Where it's not a conventional interview. It's always just kind of a guy's guy deal, and I appreciate what you do. I really do, buddy.
Well, it's very nice of you to say. We'll have an extensive conversation when Confronting the Presidents comes out. We'll send you an advance copy.
I would love that.
And if there's any big breaking news and you guys want to know anything, just give us a call.
Well, let's talk about the vice president. I think that now that Marco Rubio is there a law? You're saying that Rubio might be the guy for the VP. Yeah. Isn't there a law where the president and the vice can't be from the same state? So that would require obviously Rubio.
All Rubio has to do is sign a lease for a condo or an apartment in Georgia, and there it goes.
Or even D.C. Right?
Yeah. I don't know whether he has a residence in D.C., but sure. That's all he has to do. That's an easy one. That's not going to inhibit.
Bill, I'm not a big Rubio fan. I really am not.
Yeah, but it's all about demographics. See, if Trump can hold the momentum in the Hispanic communities, he'll win.
So you're saying now
that's it, because there are so many Hispanic voters, particularly in states like Nevada and Arizona and swing states he needs. He puts Rubio on a ticket. That's a plus for some Hispanic voters.
I know you're big on Nikki Haley. I know that you're like, listen, if he was smart.
I'm not big on her. I mean, that would be his best play, but that's not going to happen.
How about Tulsi Gabbard?
No, she's too isolationist, foreign policy-wise. And the MAGA people, they don't want that. I think she's the smartest of the crew, though.
I do, too.
I had her on a few weeks ago, and I gave her a pretty good interview. She had to answer the question. She's pretty smart.
Yeah, you don't give anybody a pass. You don't give anybody softballs.
No, that's not what we do. But this is not her time. But she keep your eye on her. She's very intelligent. But she's got to wise up about the foreign policy stuff.
So that was who I was wanting. How about the Ramaswamy guy? Is that guy? Is he?
He's going to be secretary of something.
Yeah, kind of like the way Biden made. Who was that? Buttigieg or like all the.
Yeah, Buttigieg. Right. Ramaswamy will be running. He'll be a cabinet member. He'll be running some department if Trump wins.
Now, how much of Biden still staying in the race is really Jill? Is it all of it? Is it all her? Because she seems to be the one that's campaigning right now.
Yeah, it's pretty much all of her. Biden's support in the Democratic Party is very weak. Barack Obama's turned against him, and you know that if you watch David Axelrod, who's Obama's consigliere on CNN. And he doesn't have a lot of support inside the Democratic Party, but there's no mechanism to pull him out of there. And Jill is, you're going to have to drag her out of there. She'll be latching onto the furniture. They'll see somebody will have her ankle. She wants to stay there.
She takes to China, right?
Yeah.
Bill, I can't thank you enough for all that you do for us, my friend. And
sure, Bubba. I'm glad you're still doing well down there, and we'll talk in the next few months because things are really going to heat up. Pardon the pun, in Florida.
Not only that, but give me a copy of that book. Let's promote that, and let's continue to do election stuff, bud.
Okay. You'll get it.
Bill
O'Reilly.
BillO'Reilly.com. Bill, thank you. Appreciate you.
If you love that segment, then check out BubbaArmyHQ.com and do a deep dive on past shows. The Bubba the Love Sponge Show will be right back.